everyone! If you're new here, my name is Crystal, also known as the Book Gypsy on Instagram, and today I'm going to be giving you guys some book and movie recommendations for the Halloween season. So I am so sorry for the lack of videos in the last 2 weeks. I have been battling some type of crazy sickness that has had me in bed. Luckily, while I'm in bed, I'm reading, but I've been so sick, and I know a lot of people around the country have been sick as well, so I know I'm not the only one. So today, we're just gonna get into a couple of recommendations that I have for you that I feel like everyone will enjoy during the Halloween season. If you are looking for super spooky books, or just something that's going to give you some creeps during the October month. So let's just get into it. The first book I want to talk about today is a book that I had recently just finished, and I gave a 5 out of 5 stars on. This is a new to me author. I absolutely loved this story, and I can't picture anything else more perfect for the fall time to read, to get you into the spirit of Halloween with the creepy vibes. It is The Witch of Willow Hall by Hester Fox. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you know how much I love this book, and I have been promoting this author like crazy because I love her. I loved her writing style. I loved the characters. I loved the atmosphere in this book. This was just such a great story. It was pitched to me as a witch story, which it is, but for the most part it is a ghost story, and I just loved it. I loved it so much. We're looking for a period piece, which is, this book actually takes place in the 1800s, early 1800s, following a family who moved from Boston to New Oldbury, Massachusetts, and they are trying to run away from problems surrounding their family that are causing them a lot of strife and are causing them to feel uncomfortable where they live. So the father decides to move them to their summer home in New Oldbury, where things start to get stirred up a little bit, and some type of supernatural stuff starts to happen to this family, but they don't really pay much attention to it. The daughter, the middle daughter, Lydia, she seems to be a little bit more drawn to it than the rest of them. So it's pretty interesting what happens in this story. It's pretty emotional. It's definitely not a lighthearted read, but it's so good. So I don't want to give too much away about this book. I am just raving about it, and I think everybody should read it. It was coming out October 2nd. I believe it's coming out October 18th now. So if you're looking for a spooky ghost story, check out The Witch of Willow Hall by Hester Fox. You will not be disappointed. I love this book, and then if you read it, let me know. I want to talk about it with you. I'm so sorry I'm so stuffy. Like, I sound like I'm underwater to myself. I don't know if I sound that way to you guys, but this is horrible. But I felt a little bit better today, so I was like, I have to film. Next book that I have for you to recommend for a spooky read, it's not Halloween without a little Stephen King in my life. And I have 3 books on this list, by the way, that I'm recommending you. The first one I want to recommend is Salem's Lot. This is definitely more of like a modern day Dracula in our world type story by Stephen King, and I really enjoyed this book. As big as it is, it's pretty big. I finished it rather quickly. I loved the character Ben. I actually loved all the characters in this book. They were very well planned characters, and I really enjoyed that. So if you're looking for like a vampire story, check out Salem's Lot. Then another Stephen King book that is super spooky and super big is It by Stephen King. I recommend this book to every person that I know that has never read Stephen King. I know it's huge, but this is like his best writing. You just fall in love with the Losers Club and all their thoughts on what it is and all the things that they go through as children. It's crazy. Definitely check out It by Stephen King if you want all the spooky feels. And if you read this, let me know what you thought about the ending, but no spoilers down below. You know, like, Message me personally, I want to know. The book that I want to recommend to you by Stephen King is Night Shift. Now this is a collection of his short stories, super spooky short stories. I think they're the scariest ones. This one actually contains Children of the Corn, so I don't know if anyone's seen that movie, but if you read that short story, oh my god. It's like so creepy, and it's so perfect. I really do love Stephen King's short story collections. I think they are some of his best works, and a lot of them have turned into TV shows or movies and stuff like that. If you haven't read any of Stephen King's short story collections or any of Stephen King's books, maybe you should start with like his short story collections, because they do kind of give you like a taste of his writing style and the things that he does write about, because they are pretty graphic. So if you have, you know, a sensitivity to things like that, and you're not sure if you will like Stephen King or if he'll, you know, his stories might trigger you in some type of way, start off with short stories and see if you like them. The next book I want to share with you guys is Doorbells at Dusk, and this is edited by Evans Light. It's a collection of short stories by a whole slew of authors, but I just heard such great things about this, and these are all stories that happen on Halloween night. So I figured this is a great short story collection to keep by my bedside in October, maybe read a story a night and just spook myself out and creep myself out. There's a lot of horror writers here. I'll show you the list in the back if you would like to see. And I ordered this on Amazon. I don't know if bookstores are carrying it, but it is pretty creepy. I mean, the cover itself is just spooky. This is the perfect book to get you into the Halloween spirit. I have not read it yet. I did read like the first short story in the beginning, and it's pretty good. So if you're looking for a spooky short story collection to read for Halloween, Doorbells at Dusk is probably the right one for you. And the next book that I'd like to share with you is The Archived by Victoria Schwab. This is a ghost story. This is a story about a girl who sees ghosts, and the way the ghosts are explained basically is they are called histories, and she goes into like this vault where there's filing cabinets, and she could take these ghosts out of filing. It's pretty crazy. Victoria's mind is unbelievable with the things that she comes up with. So The Archived, it's a great ghost story. I feel like it's a good story to read around Halloween. The next book recommendation I have for you is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, and I feel like everyone on BookTube knows of this author, of this series, so I'm not going to go too in-depth about it because I myself am still reading the series, but The Raven Boys definitely has that atmosphere feel for the fall. It's definitely, you know, the perfect fall read, and it has to do with psychics and ley lines and ghosts and everything you could possibly imagine for like a haunted Halloween type book. That's The Raven Boys. So I recommend this if you have not read it yet. I'm loving the series. I'm almost done with The Dream Thieves. I love Ronan. I don't know if anyone else loves Ronan. I know everyone's like a Gansey fan, but I do love Ronan, and I'm curious to see where this series ends up at the end, and if I'm still loving it at the end. Lastly, a book that I would love to recommend to you guys if you love the supernatural and the possibility of all of it being real would be The Demonologist by Ed and Lorraine Warren. This book spooked me out, but at the same time I was completely intrigued by what they've went through and the possibility of it being true. Stories are based on true events that Ed and Lorraine Warren claim to be. They exorcise homes of demons and evil beings from people's homes, and they have helped so many families, you know, rid of these demonic forces that haunt them. And the story of The Conjuring, the Amityville Horror, all of those stories have come from Ed and Lorraine Warren's life. So The Demonologist is a book about their experiences with the paranormal. So if you are looking for a book that is nonfiction, The Demonologist by Ed and Lorraine Warren is hands down one of the best nonfiction books that I've read about paranormal investigators. It's definitely real to me. I have experienced a paranormal experience in my life at a friend's house that completely creeped me out, but at the same time I do believe in the afterlife, and I do believe in good and evil, and I do believe in all of that stuff. I am very intrigued by the paranormal realm, so I guess that's why I enjoy reading horror and sci-fi and all that, because in a way I do believe in it. I highly recommend that book to you if you are like me and completely intrigued by the unknown. I want to recommend some of my favorite movies to you guys. It's some of them, I'm sure people have seen them and they are very popular, but they are my favorite. I'm just gonna run through them really quick and give you some recommendations for some movies I think you should watch during October to get you in the Halloween spirit. First one is Hocus Pocus. And I'm sure everyone's seen this. If you haven't, God bless you. But Hocus Pocus is about 3 sisters, the Sanderson sisters, and a virgin lights the black flame candle and brings them back from the dead, and all hell breaks loose. It is a children's movie. It is definitely like my favorite Halloween movie, and I can recite Hocus Pocus word for word, line for line. Like, I don't even have to be watching the movie and I know exactly what is happening. I watched this movie so many times as a kid, and everyone that I know, my friends, my boyfriend, like, they've all watched it hundreds of times as well. I've not seen Hocus Pocus. I highly recommend that movie. And the next movie that I would like to recommend is Practical Magic, which is another favorite of mine, and that kind of stems more to my adulthood now. Practical Magic reminds me of me and my sister when we were growing up. I was always more of the Jillian type, and my sister was more of the Sally type. So me and her used to watch that movie so much and pretend we're witches and go out into our yard and pick leaves and herbs and stuff, and just, I just love that movie. And it really is like a great story about relationship of sisters. There's definitely some horror scenes in this. There is death in this. Definitely like some spooky elements, but it's a movie about witches, and it's a movie about sisters and their relationship as sisters and how they always come back to each other. It's an excellent movie. If you have not seen that yet, I highly recommend it. It was also a book by Alice Hoffman, so if you would like to check out the book, if you've seen the movie, I definitely recommend it. It's not like the movie whatsoever. The characters are the same, names and stuff, but a lot of things have been switched around for the movie. So if you want more of Practical Magic the movie, then read the book. Alice Hoffman had written The Rules of Magic, which is a prequel of Practical Magic, and it is a movie, it's a book about the ants and their life and how they became who they are. Next movie I'd like to recommend to you guys is Pet Sematary, and this is based on a novel by Stephen King, one of my favorite novels by Stephen King. And yeah, so if you've never seen Pet Sematary, check it out. It is a horror. There is blood, there are sad scenes, there are crazy weird scenes because it's Stephen King, but it is one of my favorites. So definitely check out Pet Sematary if you have not already. The next two movies that I'd like to recommend are kind of correlated with each other. It's Annabelle and The Conjuring. The Conjuring and Annabelle are based on Ed and Lorraine Warren's demonology book with all their stories and stuff. Those are stories that they have told and they turn them into movies. So if you would, instead of reading the demonologist book, if you don't want to read all the stories about Ed and Lorraine Warren, if you want to see Annabelle and The Conjuring, they are a little bit you know, more fictionalized. It's based on true events. It isn't true events. So if you would like to see some really creepy movies, one about a doll and one about a house possession, check out The Conjuring and Annabelle. And Annabelle 2. Annabelle 2 came out last year, I think, or the year before that. The movie I want to talk about is Sinister, and this stars Ethan Hawke. I love Ethan Hawke. Great movie, Sinister. Ethan Hawke plays a writer who is writing a story about a crime that had happened in the past. And so he takes his family and he moves them into this house where these crimes were committed so he could write his story. But weird, creepy things start to happen to him and his family. And some Super 8 films that have some weird content on it, and he's watching it, but he's so drawn to it and he wants to keep watching it. His family doesn't know that this house is where like this crime was committed. He just moves them into this house because he needs to fix his failing writing career like ASAP. So by him moving his family into this house, he is able to do the research that he needs so he can get this best-selling book out there. Things start to happen that aren't so good to him and his family while he's in this house. So if you want to watch probably one of the scariest movies I have ever seen, check out Sinister. I had to sleep with the lights on. The last movies that I want to recommend to you guys to creep yourselves out for Halloween is the Insidious franchise. First watched Insidious, it was kind of when horror movies were kind of falling out of that campy feel and going more towards like demonic stuff, mainstream, because a lot of demonic type possession movies were more like B, C, D rated movies, and they were so horrible. I don't know if anyone's seen The Antichrist. I don't recommend that movie, but that movie was horrendous and scary and disgusting. That I will not watch ever again. Or Human Centipede. No, don't recommend it. But Insidious and like the whole franchise of Insidious, they are like the perfect horror movie for people that tend to scare easily, that don't really like horror movies. I definitely suggest them to you if you want something a little bit lighter on the gore front and more on like the spook part. It's definitely more of like a spookier movie than like a gory, scary type movie. So I highly recommend Insidious. If you have not seen Insidious or any of the other ones in the series or franchise, check out Insidious. I love those movies. They totally creep me out. Like, it's not too much creep like Sinister, but Insidious gives you like the perfect creep. I can go on and on forever about my favorite Halloween movies because there is a ton, especially Michael Myers. I love Michael Myers. But those are the ones that I definitely think people that are new to this genre of movies or are looking for something a little bit different, I think you could watch. And also the books as well. So thank you for watching. I'm sorry I sound like this and I'm a little all over the place. I haven't filmed in so long, so I feel a little like out of place today. But that's all I have for you today. And if you like this video and you want to see more from me, just like and subscribe down below, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Bye.